Well guys, it's Nostalgia Month, and what better way to kickstart Nostalgia Month than by reviewing one of my favorite cartoon shows as a kid, and a show that I still enjoy watching to this very day. Hey guys, the Black Critic Guy here to give you my much overdue and long awaited review for Edd, Edd and Eddy. Now for those of you who aren't familiar with the show or just straight up forgot about it, which I don't understand how you could because it's just so great, Edd N Eddy follows a trio of friends known simply as the Edds, starting off with the dim-witted, simple-minded, yet lovable oaf Ed, the proper, intellectual, and OCD-prone Edward, otherwise known as Double D, and the hot-headed, anger-prone, loudmouth schemer Eddy, as they come up with half-baked schemes to scam the kids of their neighborhood off of their money so that they could buy some jawbreakers, and how their plans always seem to go awry. Now, it's no secret to anybody who's been a longtime fan on my channel that I absolutely love Edd, Edd and Eddy. This is the only DVD that I own by them because they only released seasons 1 and 2 of the show, yet all the other seasons never got a DVD release. I never understood that. This show was not only one of my favorite TV shows to watch as a kid, but it still remains one of my favorite shows to watch to this day. I recently started watching it again, and it has held up quite remarkably. I mean, the jokes still hit, the characters are still likable, and the animation still stands out to this very day. I have yet to see any show that has come out on Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, Disney Channel, any show in America that has such a unique animation style like Edd N Eddy. And I remember watching this DVD and they did an interview with the creator and he explained how they did the animation style where you see the lines really shimmering, like every scene the lines are like coming to life. And it was because of that unique animation style that they were able to stand out against their competition. It really helped. Not only that, but all the character designs, all 13 of them, and yes, I am including Plank on that list because how could you forget about Plank? I mean, the layers with this character, how deep and emotional he is. He's just so fantastically done. They all had their own unique design. No one character in the entire show looked like another character, and I really appreciated that. And the backgrounds too, quite colorful and quite interesting. And as I mentioned earlier, the humor of the show is alive and well, still delivering huge laughs in every episode, ranging from physical comedy to self-aware comedy to just the ridiculousness of a situation. I find myself laughing so hard in each and every episode. And I really loved how consistent they stayed with their humor. Not just in every episode, but over the years. They have always been consistently funny and delivering solid humor for 10 whole years. That is impressive, because some shows, sometimes the humor is like, okay, that was kind of funny, but this show always was funny. I can't even remember an episode where I was like, I didn't really find anything funny about that. Not a single one comes to mind. But again, that's just me. You might not feel the same way about that, but I always found their jokes consistently funny. My favorite gag in the show that always made me laugh is whenever a character would point out that they are aware that they're in a show. Like there's this one episode where Johnny, the bald-headed kid who carries around Plank, is sleeping in the middle of the sidewalk, and Ed decides, I don't want to just leave him sleeping here because what if the wolves attack him? So they bring him around wherever they're going, and Eddie is holding him at one point in the episode, and he just says, is this kid gonna be sleeping throughout the entire show? Priceless. But not only is the comedic writing of the show very solid, I also loved how creative they were for all the various schemes that the Eds would come up with. Every single episode was a new scheme, and sometimes in some episodes they would come up with like 3 or 4 schemes in an episode, and I always love seeing what is going to be the new scheme of the week. You know, as I'm sitting here thinking right now, another thing that really stood out in the show was the musical score. Again, like the animation, it was very unique. I've never heard anything like it in any other show. It has this whole brass feel to it, like whenever like a character is running more or less Ed, they play that like, it sounds like either a trombone or I think a trumpet. I'm gonna go with trumpet. I just love the musical score of the show. It was very unique. And of course, who could forget that iconic opening theme done mainly by whistling? I wish I could do it. I can't whistle. See? I never was able to whistle, so I could never whistle the theme song to Edd N Eddy. I fail at life. All joking aside, let's get to the final thing I want to talk about, the characters. Now there are 13 characters in total in this entire show, and each and every one of them were unique, had their own personalities, and really stood out. I mean, not only do you have our main characters, the Eds, but you also got all the other kids of the cul-de-sac, like Sarah, Ed's vicious and hot-tempered little sister, and her best friend Jimmy, this very flamboyant boy who always plays and hangs around near Sarah. Next is Kevin, the stereotypical cool kid of the neighborhood who everybody looks up to and admires. And then you got Naz, who is the hot chick of the neighborhood. Every guy swoons over her, including Kevin. And sometimes you see Naz and Kevin together. It's not really clear if they're dating. She is a bit shallow and doesn't really have much of a personality besides being really girly. That's the best I could put. She's really girly, really cutesy. Out of all the characters, I would consider Naz the weakest character, but that doesn't mean that her character isn't interesting or unique. Then there's Johnny, the eccentric, weird, and obnoxious kid of the cul-de-sac, whose best friend is a piece of wood named Plank, who is probably the coolest character, in my opinion, in the show. I mean, this guy, all the emotion, all the range of his character, it's just phenomenal. Plank is God. And then there's Rolf, the weird foreign kid of the cul-de-sac, who every time I think about him or even say his name, I just can't help but smile and laugh. I mean, this guy was just so entertaining. He would always say something weird or strange in each episode, bring back the old country and his customs. I love seeing his character. He was unique. And lastly, we got the Kanker Sisters, Lee, Marie, and May, who are just enamored with the Eds and try at any given opportunity to kiss or hook up with them. Whenever the Eds would see the Kanker Sisters in any given area, or if they're even coming towards them, they just hightail it out of there. And I just love their whole cat and mouse game that they would do. It added for some comedic situations. Every single minute that I talk about the Eds in this review, the more I just want to watch the show again. It has so many hilarious and memorable episodes, too many to name. But a few that really stood out to me was there was this one episode where the Eds switch personalities and they pretend to be the other for a whole day, which I thought was pretty interesting. There's that one episode where they have to fix stuff. They become like repairmen, and Ed just keeps breaking everything. There was another episode where the Eds get set up for something that they didn't do, and the twist as to who was behind it was so well done. There was also another episode where actually the Eds don't show up until the end of the episode. They were missing throughout the entire episode. Not only were the kids confused as to where they were, but also I was like, what's going on in this episode? Where are the Eds? It's so weird not to see them at the center of the episode. It was strange. And the last episode that really stood out to me was the episode where May and Double D actually kind of fall in love with each other. It was the Valentine's Day special, and I thought that was so interesting that they actually made one of the Eds fall for one of the Kanker Sisters, and they kind of had this whole goo-goo-eyed relationship. And the way that episode ended, I thought was really good as well. Look, we'll be here forever if I continue recalling my favorite Edd N Eddy episodes. There's just way too many to name. Overall, I absolutely adore this show. Not only as a kid, but even as an adult now, the show still holds up. The animation is fantastic, the humor excellent, the characters diverse and interesting. It's just a really excellent kids show, and it is without a doubt my favorite Cartoon Network show and one of my all-time favorite cartoon shows. And that's why I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5 stars. To me, Edd N Eddy is an epic masterpiece, and if you have not seen it, I recommend checking it out. Again, it still holds up to this day. Even if you're not a kid, you might find something to like or even relate to in Edd N Eddy. But anyway, what did you guys think about this show? Did you absolutely adore it like I did? Did you watch it as a kid as well? Or were you kind of just like meh about it and you weren't really pulled into it? And let me know, who is your favorite Edd N Eddy character. And also, let me know what was your favorite scheme by them, if you can remember any. Comment below and let me know. And Nostalgia Month, guys, is in full swing now. And until then, guys, hit that subscribe button if you're new to my channel. Welcome to the Black Critic Guy. Like this video if you really enjoyed it. And I'm Tony Waller II, the Black Critic Guy. Till then, peace, YouTube.